Today, I'm doing a channel first. I'm reviewing the first Scotch I've ever reviewed on the channel. Let's get into it. Hello everyone, welcome back to Brad's Bourbon Reviews. I'm Brad, and today we are doing a channel first. I'm going to get to review the very first Scotch I've ever reviewed. Not the very first Scotch I've ever had. I've had Scotch in the past, but I decided for 2025, I'm still going to focus on bourbon content 100%, but I think it's fun to go out and explore other types of whiskey as well. I love Irish whiskey, I love Green Spot, I love some Scotches I've had, and like Lagavulin 16. So there's a bunch of things that I like. And I think it's fun to explore all aspects of whiskey and not narrow ourselves into this one category. That being said, bourbon is my favorite category. That's why I started drinking it. I had tried a bunch of different whiskeys into finding my way into bourbon. So this is not like this is changing to Brad's whiskey review. No, the bourbon. Bourbon is my favorite. It's just always will be. It always has been. It always will be. But I think it's fun on occasion to dip your toe into other parts of whiskey. So today we're going to do a review of Glenfiddich 12. This is a 12-year-old Scotch, single malt Scotch, that is aged for 12 years in Oloroso sherry and ex-bourbon casks. So as a bourbon fan, this is probably a really good stepping stone into Scotch because you're going to get these, more than likely going to get some bourbon notes if they're aging in ex-bourbon casks. So full disclosure, I have tried this, and actually, even further full disclosure, this is the second time I'm recording this video. The first time I didn't hit record. So fun times. So I have tried this a few times now. But I'm going to go and do a review of this as if I have not tried this ever. But let's give it a nosing. Let's see how we feel. First thing you get off this is like a apple or a pear note with a lot of floral, like really vibrant honeysuckle notes. And then there's this like funky musk. I'm assuming it's from the 12-year-old age statement. I don't know where they get their barrels. If they don't get their barrels from Wild Turkey, I'd be surprised. There's like a Wild Turkey funk to this nose that would surprise me if that's not where they got their barrel from. But it's so light and nice. And I think a lot of times with bourbon, like 80 proof, which is what this is, it's 80 proof Scotch. I think 80 proof bourbon kind of gets like looked down upon, but I don't feel like it's that way with Scotch. And that could just be ignorance on my part or like a misconception. I feel like that there is a more of a reluctance or a hesitancy from bourbon drinkers to drink something at 80 proof. Or I don't feel like it's that with Scotch. But for a nose on an 80 proof whiskey, I mean, I don't know if I've had something that's had this many distinct notes on it. It's so great. It's really, really nice. It's really light. It's floral. It's pleasant. There's nothing wrong here. Let's give it a mouthing. Let's see how I feel. It's way more sweet than you would think a Scotch would be. I know for me, when I think of Scotch, I think of heavy, peaty smokiness. This is not that at all. This is very light, very floral, very approachable Scotch. This is not something that's going to like knock your socks off. That's sweet. It's refreshing. It's light. Like I would put this, which I never would have thought in a million years, I would have put a Scotch on like a summer drinking list, but this would be on that list for me 100%. It's light. It's airy. It's refreshing. And it's approachable. Like I have a lot of friends who are really big into bourbon as well, and I feel like they would like this. The flavors are just so good. So I'm going to do a lot more of these sprinkled throughout the year for whiskey reviews. I'm going to do some Scotch, some Irish, just to spread my wings a little bit and try new things. That's the review, Glenfiddich 12. I think this bottle ranges usually around 40, 45, 50 bucks. For a 12-year Scotch, I think you're doing pretty good. So if you're interested, maybe dipping your toe into Scotch and you're a bourbon fan, this might be the direction to head in since it's aged in ex-bourbon cask. Maybe able to find like some relation to bourbon through this. So I recommend it. I think this is a solid Scotch. That's the review. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, cheers. A big thank you to all the Patreon supporters you see on screen right now.